Hello, welcome to the Structural Engineering Podcast. We're your hosts. My name is Max.
I'm Zach.
And we're here to talk about structural engineering.
We sure are. This is episode number 1.
Every week or so, we like to get together and talk about kind of what's going on in the industry, looking at new tech innovations, looking at cool projects around the country.
A little bit about what we do.
A little bit what we do, like day-to-day of engineering. What are we talking about today?
I think today we should go over our first week as a new engineer. First job, first week.
Yeah.
What it was like, how scared you were, the things that you went through.
I peed in my pants.
Yeah, I think we need to get that out on the
All
podcast.
the details, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's do mine. Well, weird. So first project, principal comes over. He has drawings of a canopy sort of thing, like on a commercial building.
Okay.
This fabric aluminum tube frame thing. He says, "Here, design this," and that's it. He kind of walks away. That's all I get. Design this.
No direction.
No, just
Okay.
design this. I'm a little nervous. A
Yeah.
little bit. I feel like maybe for a very long time, but it could have just been one of those things that happens quick. I was freaking out because
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell. So anyway, I'm looking at this just kind of frame, and I start thinking all right, this is statics. This is a truss.
100%.
I know.
Yeah.
I did that. There was a class for this.
Yeah.
I could do a truss. So I from the architecture background, I kind of had an idea on wind loads and snow loads and whatever. So
Yeah.
right, I figured out what those were. I don't know what I probably Googled that for for half a day.
Good model. You full in 3D.
Fully in 3D,
Okay.
for sure.
And you just loaded
I
everything
loaded
with
all
every load
sorts
you could
of
imagine.
wind and snow in every direction, and the
Okay.
thing was moving all over the place.
Did you have any
Dynamic.
experience with RISA at that point?
I don't think that I did.
Okay. So wow, so you had to learn a whole program and a canopy.
Yeah. I think I probably drew a really detailed picture because I like to start with that. If I can't think of what to do, the nicer my picture is, the less I know what's going on.
Okay.
So I definitely drew a very nice picture.
Oh yeah.
Right.
How long would it take you now?
It would take me an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, you don't know anything, right? So
I still don't.
like you're saying, would you think it would be a good suggestion to ask more questions when you start your first job?
Oh yeah. So many.
Is there too many?
There's not too many.
Okay.
Unlimited.
Now the
I
idea
should have
of-
spent 3 days on questions, and then I could have designed in 30 minutes
Yeah.
instead of 3 days on design.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are quick to just show off their computing prowess.
Yes.
Look at this.
And
This
I think
model.
that's something we all kind of get stuck in too. Is even people with experience, you see all the time the model works, so it must work. But then once you start diving into it, you're like, does the moments and shears make sense somehow?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it doesn't because you didn't model it correctly, you didn't put the load on there correctly, or something like that. And it kind of takes that knowledge of that you did it by hand before.
Yeah.
For less complex things, and then when you get into complex things, you can understand it better.
Hopefully no expectation at whatever job you're at. Hopefully the guy isn't this should be a quick project. That would be the worst.
Yeah, absolutely.
It should be as long as it takes.
Yeah, and I think a good manager understands that because they were at the same spot one day, right? And I think some people need to be reminded that, hey, you started off like this too. But for the most part, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I probably sent out, about 80 applications, cover letter, resume to firms. And I heard back from firms in California, Arizona, Washington, Oregon, and Colorado. Ended up taking a job in Washington. I showed up on my first day of work with nothing. I didn't bring books.
That's not good. I'm glad you mentioned that.
I gotta tell you, I didn't even bring a calculator.
That's not good.
So I left from graduating to moving and all that kind of stuff. The box I had with all my books, my calculator and everything was left at my dad's house. Yeah, so my first week as an engineer, I didn't have a calculator, I didn't have books. I was super embarrassed about this, and I think that this is funny to bring up. The third day, I was on the internet, trying to use more complex calculator.
Scientific calculator on the internet?
Yeah, exactly. And people were walking by, and I kept closing it really quick. I was super embarrassed. I was kind of scared to ask for a calculator. No one would have cared though.
No.
Thinking back,
Sure, everybody's a couple.
So I ended up going to the grocery store the next day on my way into work, and I picked one a really bad one up. That was a mistake. Let alone alone there, which broke the other day actually.
Oh no.
Yeah. I took it to take the
Memories.
PE.
Yeah.
And I brought it back, and one of the books smashed it. It all destroyed the screen. So kind of funny, you know. Like,
Yeah.
It lasted.
It was the EI calculator. It's done now.
It was the EI calculator. Yeah, exactly. So, I think that's a really funny part of like right when I started off. Like I got down to HR and they're like, all right, you can go out and get your books and get your desk and everything set up. I said, I didn't bring any. They're like, oh, okay, bring them tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was okay, sure. Like I was really nervous. Like for some reason I thought like if I didn't have books or a calculator, they're just gonna fire me.
Yeah.
Not at all gonna happen though.
It's like a side note though. It's like I did bring everything, but
Yeah.
I felt weird about it. Like they're gonna be
Yeah.
like, "Why do you have so many books? Like, are you an idiot? Like, you can't remember anything?"
You brought too many books. I brought no books.
Yeah.
So
You should. Every desk
yeah.
is like covered. Bring your structural analysis book from class. Bring mechanics materials.
Man. There is
everything.
principles there with geotech books,
Oh, yeah.
with mechanics and materials books. You know, and like you're like, oh, why would I ever need that? Oh man, they like not very often, but periodically would reference them.
Yeah.
Like, oh man,
It's not gonna help you in your house. Just
No.
put it in your bookshelf at work.
Put them in book. I'm kind of glad I didn't know like the projects they actually worked on because that'd be super
That'd be
intimidating.
intimidating a little bit.
Super intimidating. And it turns out they do like massive projects, big buildings. They put
man.
up like skyscrapers in downtown Portland, Oregon.
Jeez. Should we talk about that real quick? Like, kind of picking the firm, like making sure that the firm that you're applying to or the job you accept aligns with kind of what you're hoping to get to. We're a little tangent here, but like, we started on different ends of the spectrum. Totally, right?
Completely.
And I think a lot of times, if you start on, not low end, but like a strictly residential
From like this building, the world,
Yeah.
First World Trade Center
if you wanna
versus
do
a house
this,
kind of firm.
you probably don't want to be at a house-only firm, even to start.
Yeah,
I think.
I would agree. Yeah, no, I think it's a very, very good idea. Like when looking for firms and picking one, that you pick one that.
Even if you're like your pay is less, your title sounds worse.
Yeah.
Like if you're at the type of firm you want to be at, and
That's all
you're
that
the intern to the intern, I think that's probably better than being like the head of the interns. Like something just trivial.
You start as a principal your first day.
It's like it's a cool title because there's only 2 people, so you're the vice principal. Whatever.
Of interns.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was your first? What you were
Day number 1.
Day
So
number 1.
first project, day number 1, was this like. It was at a school, and they had these like new portable classrooms outside the school, and they needed to make steel ramps that went up to them with this roof. They're probably about 6 feet wide or whatever, something around that, with a steel roof. So it's like HSS tube steel going up to the roof.
Were they permanent, or did they move?
It was permanent. Like
picture like an airplane terminal where the classrooms are the airplanes.
Yeah.
And they dock
so it's
with this
more or
thing.
less like for lack of better words, like a double wide. That was like the first thing I got to work on. It was a very custom thing for this one very specific project. The ideas of the firm is like you'd start off and you just do everything by hand. And I think that's huge. That's key. Like it's so much easier with software, but you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like you don't know if the outputs are right.
Box.
It's a black
It's
box.
a black box.
It's such a black box. And little side note, matter of fact, today that happened to me.
Really?
That was an issue today, yeah. So we have this beam we're cantilevering out. Well, we need to tighten up the beam, but backspan can stay the same. We need to shorten up about 6 feet of a 10-foot cantilever for like penetrations to come through for mechanical. So we're cutting off the bottom flange of the wide flange beam, and we're going to raise it up. And so I need to put a new plate in there, and I need to run it back through to develop the plate and stuff. And I was using a piece of software to develop the section properties of that. Very easy calculation to develop the moment of inertia yourself, but with software you can iterate. Yeah, that's the nice thing. It's so much more efficient to be able to iterate than by hand.
Store, which I like.
And store.
Hand calcs you can put in a folder, but everything in a computer is just labeled well, and you can go back and that's wonderful. So,
absolutely. So I did that today. Boom. I shortened it up. It was a 30-inch beam. I shortened it up to 24 inches, and it was like with a plate that was about the same flange width and size and everything like that. And I did that, and it was like double the moment of inertia of the actual beam. And I was like, man, that's not right. That's not right. But if I didn't do stuff by hand, like just That one's a very extreme because you should just know that anyways. But I closed the program, reopened it, and it just cut the moment of inertia in half.
It can be glitchy.
Like, super glitchy. But if I would have gone forward with that, the beam would have failed. Right? So like using software, but you could go both ways. Like by hand, you could mess up your hand count too.
Oh, for sure.
I think it's really important to like have that good gut feel. Like,
that structural engineering intuition.
100%. Okay, my beam is shallower. Should my moment of inertia be bigger? No, not at all.
No.
Now then I started playing with the bottom flange, thicker, wider, and then that grew my moment of inertia. I figured out how to have an equivalent eye for both the 30-inch beam and the 24-inch now shallower beam, and then develop all that. So anyway, side note, that kind of happened today, so I thought it was kind of interesting to I could kind of tie that with that scenario.
Yeah. So I think that's something that's important, is like that intuition, right?
Is very important.
And that takes that develops your whole career.
Yeah. I think
that's not something I have. It's like, it's you get there.
You get there.
It gets better.
Yeah,
but
100%.
My
first week, I would have no clue.
That's just no way. That feels wrong.
I think you got to do a lot of buildings. Another one too, I think you got to go on a lot of site visits. I think that's really important to new engineering. But another, I think, a podcast we can go over.
Oh yeah.
Like some big things that you should really push towards when you start engineering. So anyways, first day, designed those, kind of drug into the second day and things like that. So the next one I did was this wood beam on a house. We didn't do much residential, if really any, maybe a couple houses a year, and they're usually favors. Right, I think that
friends of friend kind of.
Yeah, or like an architect or something like, hey, we'll design your house, but we didn't. Very commercial firm, and the house had this big balcony and needed a beam across the front, and it had joist framing into the beam. Right?
Yeah.
5 years experience, easy, right?
Easy.
What do you think that calc takes you?
I'm already done.
Yeah, I took probably 2 days. So. I was told by the principal, we sat down, we talked through it. I was like, okay, we're good. I'm now, for this one beam, he's like, use this software. I'm like, okay.
Do you remember what the software was?
I think it was called Struck Calc. I was like, okay, I got joist of 16, I'm gonna have a point load at every 16 inches from the trib on that joist. I did that. And it was 20, 30 foot beam, and I had a bunch of point loads. Well, Struck Calc only lets you do 8 point loads or something like that. So I went back to him. I was like, I don't know how to do that.
It's not possible. This is too complex.
There's too many point loads. The program will not do it. Gotta do it by hand. He goes, no. When you get point loads that close together, it's just now a tributary loading. You don't need. It's a distributed load on that beam. You don't need to do point loads anymore. So I did that. I went back to him, and I had it was a huge solid sawn beam. So just cut right from a tree, and it was like a 4 or 6 by 18 or something like that. And I went back to him, and he was like, "Well, first you chose the wrong type of wood. We don't have that wood here. I don't remember what it was, but we didn't have it. Not in the North. I didn't have the right grade of wood." And I was like, "Okay."
Was he nice about it?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I understand. Okay.
You don't have, these aren't right. I mean, you're just blading with. Yeah. I mean, I think you're just on it. It's like none of this is right.
This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong.
Here's what you need to do.
The length was probably right.
The length, yes. I
got
the length of the beam right.
Okay.
So that was good. But you kind of went through all those things. Like, okay, I'll go back and fix it. And then the big thing with solid sawn, he's like, okay, when you get past like a 2x12 or something, 12 inch and a quarter inch depth, you'll start getting checking across. You start getting that big, if that's what we really need, we're going to go to a glue lam, which is like a 2x element, glued together on top of each other.
This is a manufactured
wood. Yeah, so
way stronger.
And like, if I sat there and designed a beam like school, by hand,
it's like a homework assignment.
A homework assignment.
Take a little while.
Probably been quicker though.
Yeah.
I think so. It was just like trying to connect the two was a big one too. It's like, okay, we did this in school. Now when we're doing this here, what does that mean? How's it similar? So definitely some very patient people I worked with initially. Okay, they're not getting at what's going on.
I think as we're writing down, you should write things down. It's a very good habit, especially like your first job, because you're gonna forget so much because you're hearing way too much that you can
have a reference
to be like, here's you
what?
beam.
Yeah, the first probably 6 months, I photocopied my calcs and kept them in a binder.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have the
great.
binder anymore. I wish I did. Yeah, second or third week, I started going home after work and just studying. I had all my notes and stuff from school, and I started studying like everything.
That's funny you mentioned that. I actually studied before every single one of my jobs when I kind of moved up in firms.
Yeah, overly worried that I was going to lose my job in like the first month or two.
Yeah, I think. Well, I didn't have anyone to keep up with because I was going there for a while, but. I feel like, in later jobs, moving on to more challenging projects, thinking that I should be keeping up with the next person on day one.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen. If you try to, you're going to screw up.
Yeah.
Just don't. Yeah.
As long as
Get
you work to keep moving and
keep progressing.
And progressing.
If you are better every day, you're not.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope this is super helpful to new engineers, new people, and it gives a little insight about us, our experiences, and what we can kind of help bring to our audience.
If you have anything you want to hear, again, we're going to kind of cover everything. We'd love to do some interviews. We'd love to cover a little more technical stuff, material, and
I think we'd really like to just talk with our audience
and just talk.
Platforms we have. Facebook, Instagram, email, etc. that we have set up.
Do we have an email?
We'll have set up soon. That we'll post with everything that you can reach out to us and feel free. I mean, I think we're don't feel intimidated at all to reach out to us with any questions.
Yeah.
Even if you're looking for your first job, give
you some pointers. I guess
some pointers.
Try at least. Can't hurt.
Can't hurt to reach out to us. So
cool.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Zach.
I'm Max.
And we'll see you next week.